Today's show brought to you in part by GoToMeeting. For a free 30-day trial, use code podcast at gotomeeting.com.
Did you know that a 14-pound cat is like a 230-pound man? Check it out on Tales from the Road, which is next.
All right, Jill, so if I understand correctly, you were saying that a 14-pound cat and a 237-pound human.
Yes.
The same.
Equivalent. Yes.
So
now
how
did
that happen?
Let me clarify. That would be a man who is supposed to be 180 pounds.
Okay.
Who weighs 237. We're not talking about linebackers.
But
or
yeah,
line
that's voltages,
the equivalent.
Either one.
Or line voltages. But yeah, it's that much of a difference.
Wow. Wow. And so we talked in an earlier episode about the body condition for animals and how important it is to not only address it when it comes up, but to prevent it beforehand.
Right. We want to prevent those really high body condition scores, which means that on that scale, just as a recap, it's a 1 to 5 scale, and 1 is too skinny, 5 is obese, 3 is ideal. And we want to keep them at that 3 range. Once we start getting up into the 4s and 5s is where we start getting all those secondary health problems.
Yeah.
So
but then as a responsible pet owner, you really want to spay or neuter your animal. So how does that figure into the weight issues?
It does figure in, and people need to take that into account. Now, sometimes when I'm in an exam room and we start talking about that, say maybe at one of the later puppy or kitten visits, and they'll say, okay, well, you know, we need to have our spay and neuter conversation now. And they'll be like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. It makes them fat. I'm like, well, not really. What happens is that when pets are spayed and neutered, we do get a little bit of a dietary double whammy, just because pets' metabolism will slow down as they're spayed or neutered, so they don't have as fast of a calorie burn as when they were intact, so they don't need as many calories. So I sort of make the analogy of my 28-year-old brother trying to and my 60-year-old dad trying to eat the same. It doesn't work well. They have different metabolic rates. So and so that's what happens with our spayed and neutered pets. Also, there have been some really interesting studies that show that pets that are spayed and neutered will voluntarily eat more food. If they're just given ad lib food, they will actually voluntarily eat more. So now we take a pet who has a lower calorie need, who will voluntarily take more food. So that is where we get the weight gain issues with spaying and neutering.
Well, a lot of that, though, I think may have some of its roots in particularly people my age. I mean, your dog's your furry-faced kid.
Yeah.
And you want to be, you want to treat him right.
That's right. You do want to treat him right. And absolutely, life is not life without treats, but we're going to treat responsibly. Okay? So a lot of people show affection through food, and we're absolutely going to work inside that parameter. But, like I adore dark chocolate, and I go way back. We're good friends. And I wag my tail every time I get to have it, but that doesn't mean that I should have it 5 or 6 or 8 times a day, right? And so, having that treat is good. So if we show our affection through food, then we're going to use things that are not so calorie expensive. You can have 4 baby carrots for what you can have for a 1/4 ounce of cheese. It's very, a little bit goes a long way in the treat department.
So I'm hearing a lot of these similarities to our show RV Healthy, for humans, that a lot of the same principles apply to dogs or to pets. But back to this notion of a chunk of cheese. And the dog sits up and you toss it over.
Yeah.
But it's a lot smaller. So that little 1-inch block, what's the equivalent?
Okay, so if we had a 20-pound dog, we'll say we got a 20-pound dog, we feed him 1 ounce of cheese. That is going to be the equivalent to 1.5 chocolate bars for a person.
Well, you could have those 3 or 4 times a day. No problem.
Exactly. Pack them down. You know what I'm saying? So we really have to be careful. And we actually have a little treat translator that has some other examples of things that people really like to feed their pets. Oftentimes in an exam room, I will hear, well, he just gets a little bit of whatever I do. Okay, well, a little bit of whatever you do is a lot for them. You take a cat whose actual daily calorie need is only about 180, 200 calories a day, and you start feeding them potato chips, that's pretty quick, you know. So those are, you know, those are some things we absolutely want to treat. You know, and it's all about portion. So remember, you can have chocolate cake, not chocolate cake, right? So, okay, I can have dark chocolate, not dark chocolate. So that's
what we're going to be talking about next time. In our show.
Yeah, we will. And we're also going to talk about doing some meal feeding type things. It's very, very easy to just chuck food down in the bowl, or to use one of those automatic feeders that just, you know, is just a bottle that's upside down and empties out into a bowl. And those are like the 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffet free vending machine dispensers. So we're going to talk about how to manage weight and use what you're feeding as an important health watch tool for you as well.
Okay, might remind you that if you go to the RVNN Pinterest board, there's a special section for Tales from the Road. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook, and thumbs up on Facebook.
That's
I'll
right.
get this. I'll
Thumbs
get
up
this.
on Facebook.
I'll get this straight. Follow us on Twitter, and most importantly, use the hashtag TFTR, Tales from the Road, and you can ask questions directly.
That's right.
Here to
Absolutely.
Dr. Jill.
Absolutely.
So, any final thoughts on this whole notion of obesity prevention?
Yes. Don't go there. So that's the biggest thing. When you're having your regular physical exams with your veterinarian, make sure that you guys talk about nutrition, talk about body condition scoring. If your pet is overweight and needs to lose, let's make a very specific plan for that, because what gets measured gets done. And so it's very important to have that set goal. So what's our target? What's the amount of food we're going to get there? What is my treat allotment for us to get there? And what's a healthy rate of loss? Because you know, not making those adjustments and not losing is important, but losing too quickly can be just as unhealthy. So those are going to be some big things. So you know, I really want to dispel that notion of, well, they'll die fat and happy, because they don't. When they die from obesity-related diseases, they die fat and miserable. And what I would rather have you do, instead of killing with kindness, love with life. So there you go.
Well said. Well said. Hey, join us next time, and we'll learn more here on Tales from the Road.
Hey, Gabe, wanna go for a walk? Gabe? Gabe? Gabe?
Hey, buddy, you lost? Hold on.
If your pet is the adventuresome type, be sure he's connected to Pet Hub. A quick scan using any smartphone shares your pet's vital information, so that even his wildest escapades have a happy ending. Pet Hub, reuniting pets with their families.
Come on, Gabe, let's go home.